Before starting the video, if you have not subscribed to my channel, then please click on the subscribe button and bell icon to get all the latest updates. Also follow me on Instagram. My Insta ID is englishlearning1205. So we are starting with social science from this video onwards. So stay tuned for more such informative videos. We are starting with class 10th geography chapter 1, that is resources and development. So what is the meaning of a resource? Anything available in our environment which can be used to satisfy our needs and is technologically accessible, economically feasible, and culturally acceptable can be termed as resource. Means resource is a very broad term. It is basically anything that can be considered a valuable addition. Anything from air to gold is all resources. मतलब कुछ भी जो भी हमारे सराउंडिंग्स में अवेलेबल है जो हमारी नीड्स को सेटिस्फाई कर सके उसको रिसोर्सेज कहते हैं. फॉर एग्जांपल मिनरल्स, फॉरेस्ट, fossil fuels and so on. A resource is a physical material that humans need and value such as land, air and water. मतलब रिसोर्स फिजिकल मटेरियल होता है जो ह्यूमंस को नीड है जैसे कि लैंड, एयर एंड वाटर. Resources are classified on the basis of origin, on the basis of exhaustibility, on the basis of ownership, on the basis of status and development. Now look at the classification of resources one by one. First is on the basis of origin. It includes biotic and abiotic resources. So what are biotic resources? Biotic resources are obtained from the biosphere. They have life or are living resources. मतलब biotic resources वो resources होते हैं जो हमें biosphere से मिलते हैं जिनमें life होती है या living resources होते हैं. For example, human beings, fisheries, forests and so on. Next is abiotic resources. Abiotic resources include all non-living things. मतलब एबायोटिक रिसोर्सेज वो रिसोर्सेज होते हैं जिनमें लाइफ नहीं होती या जो नॉन लिविंग थिंग्स होती हैं. फॉर एग्जांपल रॉक्स एंड मिनरल्स. Next is on the basis of exhaustibility. This includes renewable and non-renewable resources. So what are renewable resources? The resources which can be renewed or reproduced by physical, chemical and mechanical processes are known as renewable or replenishable resources. मतलब ऐसे resources जो renew या reproduce हो सकते हैं physical, chemical and mechanical processes से, उनको renewable resources कहते हैं. For example, water, wildlife, forest, solar energy, wind energy and so on. Next is non-renewable resources. The resources which once get exhausted cannot be remade. They take a long geological period of time, that is millions of years in their formation. मतलब ऐसे resources जो एक बार exhaust हो जाएं वो दोबारा नहीं बन सकते. उन resources को बनने में millions of years लग जाते हैं. For example, minerals, fossil fuels and so on. Next is on the basis of ownership. It includes individual resources, community owned resources, national resources and international resources. So what is individual resources? Individual resources are owned by individuals. Individual means one person. मतलब एक अकेला पर्सन जो ओन करता है उन रिसोर्सेज को इंडिविजुअल रिसोर्सेज कहते हैं. फॉर एग्जांपल ओन लैंड, हाउस. Next is community owned resources. Resources which are accessible to all the members of the community. मतलब ऐसे resources जो community का हर जना access कर सकता है उनको community owned resources कहते हैं. For example, parks, playground. Next is national resources. Resources which belong to the nation are national resources. ऐसे resources जो पूरे nation को belong करते हैं उनको national resources कहते हैं. For example, roads, railways and so on. Next is international resources. Resources which no individual country can utilize. ऐसे resources जो कोई separate country utilize नहीं कर सकती उनको international resources कहते हैं. For example, oceanic waters beyond 200 kilometer. Next is on the basis of status and development. It includes potential resources, stock and Reserve. So what are potential resources? Resources found in a region but not in use. ऐसे resources जो particular region में मिलते हैं but उनका use नहीं होता. For example, Rajasthan and Gujarat have enormous potential for the development of wind and solar energy. But so far, these resources have not been utilized properly. Next is stock. Resources available in nature but do not have appropriate technology to access. ऐसे resources जो available तो हैं but उनको access करने की सही technology नहीं है. For example, water can be broken down to extract hydrogen and oxygen. Hydrogen is a source of energy but we don't know how to carry out this process on a large scale. Next is reserve. Subset of stock can be used for future needs. Means human civilization has proper technology to utilize these resources, but a further development of technology is required to exploit these resources to their fullest potential. For example, hydropower is being generated from water and hence only put out for limited use. Now let's discuss about the development of resources. Resources are vital for human survival as well as for maintaining the quality of life. मतलब resources हमारे survival के लिए बहुत important है और अच्छी quality life को maintain करने के लिए भी. Resources are free gift of nature. As a result, human beings used them indiscriminately and this has led to the following problems. मतलब रिसोर्सेज नेचर से फ्री में मिलते हैं ह्यूमंस को बट ह्यूमंस ने इसका गलत यूज़ करके काफ़ी प्रॉब्लम्स क्रिएट कर दिए हैं. अब वो क्या प्रॉब्लम्स है, लेट्स डिस्कस देम वन बाय वन. सो फर्स्ट इज डिप्लीशन ऑफ रिसोर्सेज फॉर satisfying the greed of a few individuals. So the meaning of resource depletion is the consumption of a resource faster than it can be replenished. इसका मतलब ये है कि रिसोर्स को ज़्यादा से ज़्यादा कंज्यूम किया जा रहा है. जितना जल्दी वो रिन्यू नहीं हो पा रहा उससे ज़्यादा स्पीड से कंज्यूम किया जा रहा है, उसको रिसोर्स डिप्लीशन कहते हैं. नेक्स्ट इज accumulation of resources in few hands which in turn divided the society into two segments, that is haves and have-nots or rich and poor. The above statement means accumulated resources on the specific group of people divides the society into two segments. One type of segment is rich and another segment is poor. Because of this, major resources carried by rich ones which make the poor people suffer without any good resource for living. Next is indiscriminate exploitation of resources has led to global ecological crises such as global warming, ozone layer depletion, environmental pollution and land degradation. मतलब रिसोर्सेज का ओवर यूज़ करके या इंडिस्क्रिमिनेटली यूज़ करने की वजह से ग्लोबल क्राइसिस इवॉल्व हुए हैं, जैसे कि ग्लोबल वार्मिंग, ओजोन लेयर डिप्लीशन, environmental pollution and land degradation. Next is the Rio de Janeiro Earth Summit 1992. What it is all about, let's discuss. In June 1992, more than 100 heads of states met in Rio de Janeiro in Brazil for the first International Earth Summit. मतलब 1992 में 100 से भी ज़्यादा स्टेट्स के हेड्स की मीटिंग हुई थी फर्स्ट इंटरनेशनल अर्थ समिट के लिए रियो डे जेनेरियो में, जो ब्राज़ील में है. द समिट वॉज कन्वीन्ड एंड फॉर एड्रेसिंग अर्जेंट प्रॉब्लम्स ऑफ एनवायरमेंटल प्रोटेक्शन एंड सोशो इकोनॉमिक डेवलपमेंट एट द ग्लोबल लेवल. मतलब ये जो समिट हुआ था, इस समिट में एनवायरमेंटल प्रोटेक्शन और सोशो इकोनॉमिक डेवलपमेंट की प्रॉब्लम्स को एड्रेस किया था ग्लोबल लेवल पे. The assembled leaders signed the Declaration on Global Climatic Change and Biological Diversity. मतलब जो भी लीडर्स थे उन्होंने सब ने डिक्लेरेशन को साइन किया था जो कि ग्लोबल क्लाइमेटिक चेंज एंड बायोलॉजिकल डाइवर्सिटी पे था. द रियो कन्वेंशन एंडोर्स्ड द ग्लोबल फॉरेस्ट प्रिंसिपल्स एंड adopted Agenda 21 for achieving sustainable development in the 21st century. So this was all about resources. We will continue with the same chapter in our next video. So till then, stay tuned and please subscribe to my channel. Also follow me on Instagram. My Insta ID is englishlearning1205. Thank you so much for watching my video.